Have you ever felt like you're stuck in a rut, just going through the motions, waiting for something to happen? It's a common feeling, but what if I told you the key to unlocking a bigger, better life is already inside you? It all comes down to the size of your thoughts, the quality of your mindset, the way you see yourself and the world literally determines the level of success and fulfillment you can achieve. It's about a beggar who spent his days on a busy street, his hand outstretched, living of receiving. For years, he simply sat there, surviving on the generosity of strangers. His world was small, confined to that one patch of sidewalk, because, in his mind, he was worthless. He believed he had nothing to offer, nothing to give, and therefore his only role was to take. He was trapped by his own perception of himself. One day, a successful entrepreneur walked by. The beggar, as usual, held out his hand, asking for some change. But the entrepreneur didn't reach for his wallet. Instead, he stopped and looked the beggar in the eye. He said, "I'd be happy to give you something, but you have to give me something in return. That's the law of exchange. You can't receive value without providing value." The beggar was stunned. He replied, "But I have nothing. I'm a beggar. If I had something to give, I wouldn't be sitting here." The entrepreneur just smiled and said, "You have to have something. Think about it. I'll be back this way in a year, and we can make a trade then." With that, he walked away, leaving the beggar completely bewildered. For the first time in years, the beggar started to truly think, not about his next meal, but about what the entrepreneur had said. The law of exchange. He had spent his entire life asking, taking, receiving, without ever once considering what he could give. He had accepted the idea that he had zero value to offer the world. This one conversation planted a seed in his mind, a seed of a radical new idea. What if he did have something to give? His eyes scanned his surroundings, no longer just looking for pity, but for potential. And then he saw them. Growing in a nearby park were beautiful, vibrant wildflowers. An idea sparked. The next day, instead of just sitting there with an empty hand, he spent the morning picking a bouquet of these wildflowers. When a kind lady stopped to give him some money, he handed her a flower and said, "Thank you for your kindness. Please take this in return." The lady was surprised and delighted. This small gesture changed everything. The interaction was no longer one of pity and charity, but one of exchange. He was no longer just a beggar. He was a person offering a small piece of beauty to the world. He continued this every day. He would pick fresh flowers and give one to each person who gave him money. Slowly but surely, something incredible began to happen. People started to see him differently. They smiled at him, not with pity, but with genuine appreciation. They didn't just drop coins in his cup. They started calling him the Flower Man. More importantly, he started to see himself differently. He was no longer just a recipient of charity. He was a provider of value. His confidence grew. He realized people enjoyed his flowers so much, maybe they would pay for them directly. He gathered more flowers and set up a small stand. People who had once given him spare change now came to him as customers, buying his beautiful bouquets. He was no longer begging. He was running a business. The shift in his self-perception was the catalyst for his transformation. By recognizing that he had something of value to offer, no matter how small, he changed his actions. His actions, in turn, reinforced his new belief about himself. The cycle of begging was broken and replaced by a cycle of value, creation, and success. A year later, the entrepreneur walked down that same street. He didn't see the beggar. Instead, he saw a thriving flower stall run by a well-dressed, confident man. The man recognized the entrepreneur and walked over to him, his eyes shining with gratitude. He said, "I've been waiting for you. I want to repay you." He tried to hand the entrepreneur a sum of money, but the entrepreneur refused. "You don't owe me anything," he said. "You've learned the most important lesson in life. You only have the right to receive after you have given. You were never a beggar. You were just a businessman who hadn't discovered his own value yet." This story hits home because it contains a universal truth. We only truly receive when we give. The world doesn't owe us anything. Success, happiness, and fulfillment aren't things we can just demand or wait for. They are the natural results of the value we create and contribute. The first and most critical step is recognizing your own value. You have to believe, deep down, that you have something to contribute. Think about it. What are your wildflowers? It doesn't have to be a grand, world-changing invention. Your value could be your kindness, your ability to listen, your unique perspective, your artistic talent, your skill for organizing, your sense of humor. Everyone has something. The problem is, many of us, like the beggar, have been conditioned to believe we have nothing to offer. We compare ourselves to others and feel inadequate. We focus on what we lack instead of what we possess. This mindset is a self-imposed prison. It limits our potential and dictates our reality. How you perceive yourself shapes your life. If you see yourself as someone who is lacking, who is a victim of circumstances, who has nothing to give, your life will reflect that. You will wait for handouts, you will feel resentful, and you will remain stuck. But the moment you change your thoughts about yourself, you begin to change your future. The moment you start looking for your own wildflowers, you start to see opportunities instead of obstacles. You shift from a mindset of scarcity to one of abundance. You understand that your life isn't defined by what you get, but by what you give. This is the power of mindset. It's the difference between being a passenger in your own life and being the driver. It's the difference between asking, "What can the world do for me?" and asking, "What can I do for the world?" So, I want to challenge you today. Take a real, honest look at yourself. What value do you possess? What are your unique gifts, skills, and passions? Write them down. Acknowledge them. Own them. Start small, just like the beggar with his flowers. Find a way to share that value with someone else today. Offer a helping hand. Share a piece of knowledge. Create something beautiful. Or simply offer a genuine compliment. When you start to operate from a place of giving, from a place of value exchange, your entire world will transform. You'll attract more opportunities, build stronger relationships, and find a deeper sense of purpose. You stop being a beggar waiting for life to happen to you, and you become the entrepreneur of your own destiny. Remember the story of the flower man. Your life is not determined by your circumstances. It's determined by your mindset. Change your thoughts, and you will absolutely change your world. Thanks so much for watching. If this message resonated with you, hit that like button and subscribe for more content to help you build your best life. I'll see you in the next one.